let's get started on our Tuesday. The 24-hour temperature cast wants to keep those numbers maybe a little bit more under control today. We kept it in the 80s in most spots yesterday. We'll do it again today. I think we keep it in the mid-80s today with another day where there's more clouds than clear. Maybe a couple of sprinkles like we saw in a few spots yesterday, but by no means a rainy day around here. I think the clouds are really going to be the overwhelming part of this forecast, and that's all circulating around tropical systems that are out off into the Atlantic. Now, the most direct impacts from all this stays offshore, but with this additional moisture and cloud cover and breeze coming our way and a few scattered showers, it is part of our forecast, and we'll continue to keep our eyes on what's going on out there as those should move away from the U.S. East Coast as we go through the day today. It's 72 in Thomasville, it's 72 in Valdosta, it's 74 currently in Tallahassee. It's starting a little bit warm, especially for the very end of September. Got a pretty good breeze out of the northeast. We're watching those dew point numbers inch down a little bit, not in the 70s, but in the middle and upper 60s this morning. The more those drop, the better chance we'll have when the skies open up a little bit tonight for these temperatures to drop. And I think tomorrow morning it should be mostly upper and even middle 60s for morning temperatures, where it's supposed to be at the beginning of October. Now it's all 70s. We have a 71 in Madison, a 72 in Thomasville, a 73 in Quincy, 74 in Tallahassee, and pretty much all the temperatures right there in that little group from 70 to 74. There is a pretty good breeze out of the northeast, and we're going to notice that throughout the day, up to 13 or even 15 miles per hour. With the breeze, even while we still have some of this moisture lingering, we're not expecting to find too much fog out there. Now, it doesn't look like we have all kinds of anything going on across the southeast, and that's the way it's going to play out today. We're going to have some of those clouds. There'll be some breaks in the clouds at times. We might see an isolated sprinkle try to circulate in from the east, but most of really what's going on is way out into the Atlantic, far enough away where the direct impacts are kept there. Maybe a little bit of that outflow finding its way into parts of the Carolinas and the Virginias, but not coming this way. Higher pressure to our north and west is holding steady. There's an old boundary just sort of lingering there, and I think it's going to stick around for a little while. Eventually, some new energy may form along this, and that may adjust our weekend forecast. So we should get some clearing and drying as the tropical weather moves away, and I think that's what we see here on the Futurecast, and that should stick around for a couple of days. But as we get to the end of the week, now we start looking for that next hiccup, and even if it's got nothing tropical to do with it, we could still find some better chances for rain in the forecast by the time we do get to the weekend. We've got a few days to fine-tune all those details, and from now until then, I think we continue with a pretty persistent northeast breeze, which should bring in slightly drier and hopefully slightly cooler air. So I do think things get a little bit more pleasant over the next couple of days, not feeling as much like summer. Let's talk about the two systems out in the tropics. Easy to see them. Neither one really looking all that impressive anymore. Humberto has really calmed down a little bit. IMELDA is getting stronger, winds up to 70 miles per hour. Although that satellite presentation is not the best looking one we've ever seen. Moving to the northeast at 7, it should start really peeling away, getting faster and following where Humberto goes and eventually fizzles out. Now this could get awfully close to Bermuda by early Thursday morning, so we'll continue to keep our eyes on that one. But as far as the tropical weather goes, any of these secondary impacts that we're feeling a little bit yesterday and we're still feeling a little bit this morning, I think after today those are gone. On the Gulf today, winds out of the north and northeast up to 18 knots, a bit breezy, seas 2 to 4 feet with a light to moderate chop in the protected waters. 60s and 70s, I'm hoping we find a few 60s out there this morning. Sunrise time at 7:31. Let's shoot for the middle 80s today. We got to 87 yesterday, 86, 87, probably about the warmest we're going to get today. And we'll put the rain chances around 30%. Shower chances will be highest east and lowest west, and they're not that high east. Now, mid 60s are where we could see those temperatures fall tonight, especially as we do dry things out a little. And that should mean a little bit more of a pleasant look and feel for Wednesday, Thursday. As we get to Friday, we start talking about that other boundary and that other energy and how that's all going to work together. At this point, it feels like maybe by late Saturday and early Sunday, we could have some real chances for some real rain. It's going to be several days down the road. We know some things are going to get adjusted, so let's not jump to conclusions about the weekend forecast just yet. But at this point, that is a more seasonable forecast. And of course, nobody wants rain on the weekend, but we could still use quite a bit.